Your penny might not be just 1 cent. Certain Lincoln cents from the 1970s, 80s, and 2000s are selling for huge money today. Don't spend them without checking first. The story of the U.S. 1975 1-cent penny is one that captures the imagination of collectors and everyday people alike, because hidden inside this common coin is the possibility of extraordinary value. Pennies are coins we hardly ever think about, often tossed into jars, left at the bottom of drawers, or even disregarded entirely because of their small face value. Yet the truth is, the 1975 penny carries with it secrets and stories that have shocked collectors for decades. While most examples are just worth a single cent, rare variations and minting errors from this year can elevate their value into a range most people could never imagine, with prices reported between $62,000 to $144,000. That's right, a penny worth nearly six figures, and the incredible part is that many of them are still out there, waiting to be discovered. To understand the fascination with the 1975 penny, you first have to step back and think about the era. America in 1975 was a nation in transition. The Vietnam War had recently come to an end. The country was experiencing political scandals in the wake of Watergate, and inflation was on the rise. The penny itself had already gone through a long history, dating back to 1909 when it first featured the image of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first U.S. coin to carry the likeness of a real person. By 1975, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for 66 years, and people were deeply familiar with the design. Lincoln's portrait adorned the obverse, while the Lincoln Memorial graced the reverse, a design that had been used since 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Millions and millions of these coins rolled off the presses that year, destined to be spent in candy stores, tucked into piggy banks, and jingling in pockets across the country. On the surface, the 1975 penny seems like any other year, but the truth is that coin collectors are always on the lookout for subtle variations and errors that change everything. When so many coins are produced, billions in fact, it is inevitable that mistakes will occur. These mistakes are often the very reason some coins end up being worth astronomical sums. Collectors prize these differences because they tell a story of imperfection, of something unusual that slipped past the mint's strict standards. In the case of the 1975 penny, those rare minting errors and unique variations are what turn a 1-cent coin into a jackpot. There's also a fascinating side note about 1975 and U.S. coinage. While there were no official bicentennial pennies produced, unlike the special designs for quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, the year is still tied closely to that patriotic era. That sense of transition and celebration makes 1975 an intriguing year in the broader story of American currency. What keeps collectors truly engaged, though, is the mystery and rarity surrounding the pennies struck that year. Some of the most notable error types include doubled die obverse, where Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" show doubling that can be seen with the naked eye or under magnification. There are also off-center strikes, where part of the coin's design is missing because it wasn't properly centered during minting. Even more dramatic are instances of pennies struck on the wrong planchets, such as dimes or foreign coins. These bizarre misstrikes often draw huge attention at auction because they're not just rare, they're visually striking and instantly different from a standard penny. It's these exact kinds of rare anomalies that have caused some 1975 pennies to command values in the $62,000 to $144,000 range. Just think about that for a moment. A coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the street could, in its rarest form, cover the cost of a brand new car, the down payment on a house, or a child's entire college tuition. That kind of dramatic leap in value is what makes stories about the 1975 penny so captivating. What's also interesting is how the grading of coins plays into their worth. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC evaluate coins based on their condition, assigning them a grade that can dramatically impact their value. A 1975 penny in circulated condition may only be worth face value, but an uncirculated example with an error or variation can be worth thousands, even tens of thousands. Add in rarity and collector demand, and suddenly that small coin has the power to ignite bidding wars at auctions. People often underestimate just how influential demand is in the coin collecting world. The penny, though small in value, is deeply symbolic in American culture, tied to Abraham Lincoln, one of the most beloved presidents in U.S. history. Collectors love Lincoln cents, and entire books have been written about their variations, errors, and history. That built-in collector base means that rare finds like a valuable 1975 penny are highly sought after. And with each passing year, the pool of available coins shrinks as examples are lost, damaged, or tucked away into collections never to be sold again. That scarcity only drives prices higher. Imagine for a moment finding one of these rare coins in your own home. Maybe it's in a jar that's been sitting on a shelf for decades, or perhaps it's in a collection you inherited from a relative who was quietly interested in coins. You might not even notice at first, after all, it's just a penny. But with a sharp eye, or even better, a magnifying glass, you start to notice something unusual about it. That realization that you could be holding a coin worth 6 figures is the kind of thrill that keeps people searching through their change year after year. Stories of everyday people stumbling upon valuable coins are not just myths. They happen more often than you might think. Someone who casually rolls up coins to deposit at the bank might have had a treasure pass through their fingers without realizing it. That's why collectors and experts always advise taking a closer look before spending old coins, especially from years like 1975 where rare variations exist. The 1975 penny is a reminder of the hidden value that can be found in the ordinary. Every coin carries history with it. Every scratch, every shine, every variation tells a story about where it's been and how it was made. But for certain rare examples, that story is amplified by extraordinary value. To hold one of these rare coins is to hold not just a piece of currency, but a piece of history that also has the power to transform financially. The excitement around coins like this also reflects a larger truth about collecting. It's not just about the money, though that's certainly a big part of the appeal. It's about discovery, curiosity, and the thrill of connecting with something that most people overlook. The 1975 penny symbolizes that perfectly. Something so common, something so small, holds within it the possibility of greatness. When you look at a 1975 penny, it's worth remembering that most are just everyday coins, but some rare examples carry a value between $6,200 and $144,000. That huge range captures the imagination because it's not just about cold hard numbers. It's about the what if. What if you already have one sitting in a jar or tucked into a drawer? What if the penny you hand over as change is actually worth more than your paycheck? That suspense is what makes coins like the 1975 penny legendary among collectors, so the next time you see a penny lying on the ground or rattling around in your pocket, don't dismiss it as worthless. Take a moment to look closer, especially if it's dated 1975. Check for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or anything that seems unusual, because what looks like a simple penny to most could, in fact, be a hidden treasure capable of changing your life. Would you notice it, or would you let $144,000 slip through your fingers disguised as a single cent? That is the mystery and the magic of the 1975 1-cent penny. A coin that seems so ordinary, yet carries within it the potential for extraordinary fortune and history. And maybe, just maybe, the next one you find could be the one that makes you a believer in the power of looking closer at the things most people overlook. The 1996 United States 1-cent penny might not catch your eye at first glance. To most people, it's just a common coin, something that gets tossed into a jar, slipped into a vending machine, or handed back as change without a second thought. Millions upon millions of these pennies were struck in 1996, and they have passed through countless hands over the decades. Yet within that vast ocean of copper-plated zinc coins, a few stand out as remarkable treasures, with collectors willing to pay staggering amounts for them. In fact, certain rare examples of the 1996 penny, depending on their condition, mint errors, or varieties, have been valued at anywhere from $52,000 to an astounding $122,000. That's an unimaginable leap for a coin that most people dismiss as almost worthless. The story of this penny begins with its design. Since 1909, the U.S. 1-cent coin has carried the image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The design by Victor David Brenner first debuted in honor of the centennial of Lincoln's birth, and it has remained a fixture on American coinage ever since. By 1996, Lincoln had been on the penny for 87 years, making him the longest-running portrait on any U.S. coin. The reverse design at the time, introduced in 1959, featured the Lincoln Memorial, a simple but powerful tribute to the man whose leadership helped preserve the Union during its greatest trial. On the 1996 penny, as with others from that era, you'll see Lincoln's profile facing right, the word Liberty on the left, the date 1996 on the right, and the motto "In God We Trust" arching across the top. The reverse depicts the Lincoln Memorial, with even the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns if you look closely. So what could possibly make this common coin so valuable? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors, varieties, and high-grade preservation. In 1996, pennies were struck at several U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver. With billions of coins produced, even the most careful minting process is not immune to mistakes. When mistakes occur, and when they survive the minting quality checks, they create unique coins that collectors covet. Among the most desirable 1996 pennies are those with double die errors. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coins is engraved improperly, creating a doubled image on the final coin. This doubling might appear in the inscriptions like Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the date itself. Some examples from 1996 exhibit striking doubling that makes the coin instantly recognizable as something special. Because these double dies are scarce, they draw tremendous attention at auctions, and the bidding can climb quickly into the tens of thousands. Another variety comes from off-center strikes. Sometimes a coin is not seated correctly in the press when it's struck, leaving part of the design missing or misaligned. While slight off-center strikes aren't particularly valuable, dramatic ones, where perhaps 50% or more of the design is missing but the date remains visible, can command very high prices. A 1996 penny with such a dramatic off-center strike could easily fetch tens of thousands, especially if it has survived in pristine condition. Then there are transitional planchet errors, the kind of mistake that fascinates collectors. Occasionally, coins are struck on the wrong type of metal blank, either because of a mix-up at the mint or because leftover planchets from a different year are mistakenly used. A 1996 penny struck on the wrong planchet could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, instantly catapulting its value into the $52,000 to $122,000 range. Imagine finding such a coin in a roll of pennies or sitting unnoticed in a collection. It's the kind of discovery that changes the way people look at pocket change forever. The condition of the coin also plays a critical role. A circulated 1996 penny, one that has spent years rattling around in change, will rarely be worth much unless it has a significant error. But uncirculated coins, those that were carefully saved when they were minted and have remained in pristine condition, can be extremely valuable. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade on the 70-point Sheldon scale. A 1996 penny graded MS67 or higher is already rare, but add in an error or variety, and you have a coin that collectors will battle fiercely for. Auctions have shown just how far collectors will go for the right coin. Stories circulate of seemingly ordinary 1996 pennies crossing the block and shocking everyone with the final price. The bidding often begins modestly, but once experts identify a rare error or see a top-grade example, the energy in the room changes. Prices soar past $10,000, $20,000, and keep climbing until the hammer falls, sometimes reaching that jaw-dropping range of $52,000 to $122,000. For a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the street, it's a stunning transformation. What makes the story even more compelling is that these treasures can still be found. Unlike older coins that have long been pulled from circulation, 1996 pennies remain relatively common in everyday change. That means anyone could unknowingly have one of these rare pieces in a pocket, purse, or jar of coins at home. It's a reminder that opportunities for discovery are still out there, waiting for people with sharp eyes and a bit of curiosity. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt, and the 1996 penny embodies that spirit perfectly. Every time you check a roll of pennies from the bank, every time you sort through change, there's the potential that something extraordinary might surface. The knowledge that a single penny could be worth tens of thousands of dollars keeps people searching, checking, and hoping. It's not just about money. It's about the story, the history, and the excitement of uncovering something special. But beyond the thrill, there's also meaning in the design itself. Lincoln's portrait serves as a reminder of the ideals he stood for, of unity, perseverance, and the struggle for a better future. The coin is a small but powerful symbol of American history, And when you add in the possibility of hidden rarity, it becomes even more fascinating. The 1996 penny connects everyday life with the extraordinary, the ordinary with the remarkable. Think of the stories people could tell if they discovered one of these rare coins. A simple penny that most would ignore suddenly becomes a family heirloom, a financial windfall, and a piece of history all at once. It's not just about owning a coin. It's about owning a piece of a larger story, one that spans decades of minting tradition, the evolution of coin collecting, and the unpredictable quirks of the minting process. So the next time you come across a 1996 penny, take a closer look. Examine the date, the lettering, the strike. Does anything look unusual? Is there doubling, misalignment, or an odd shine that sets it apart? That penny could be far more than a simple 1 cent. It could be a hidden gem worth $52,000 to $122,000. Stories of discovery continue to inspire new generations of collectors, and the 1996 penny remains one of those coins that fuels the imagination. It teaches us not to overlook the small things, not to dismiss what seems ordinary, because hidden within the everyday can be treasures beyond belief. The 2012 1-cent penny is a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without ever giving it a second thought. To most, it's just another copper-colored coin, small and often overlooked, the kind of thing you toss into a change jar or leave at the bottom of your car's cup holder. But what if I told you that some of these very same pennies from 2012, depending on their condition, errors, or minting quirks, are not worth just a single cent but could command astonishing prices ranging anywhere from $3,500 to $102,000. That's right. A coin you might dismiss as virtually worthless could actually hold the potential to change your financial future if you happen to spot the right one. The 2012 penny belongs to a fascinating chapter in U.S. coinage history. By this point, the Lincoln cent had already celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2009, and the design had transitioned to the Union Shield reverse, which was first introduced in 2010. This design, still in use today, features a strong and bold shield with 13 vertical stripes topped by a horizontal bar, symbolizing unity under one government. Across the top of the shield, the inscription E pluribus unum is written, translating to out of many, one, a phrase deeply tied to American identity. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's timeless portrait continues to remind us of the 16th president's enduring legacy. By 2012, this design was still relatively new, making these coins part of the early years of the Shield cent era. Billions of pennies were minted in 2012 across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and most of them circulate with virtually no premium. But what makes the 2012 penny fascinating is the small group of coins that stand out. Coins struck with minting errors, coins preserved in pristine mint state or proof condition, and coins that collectors simply must have to complete their sets. And it is within this small fraction of 2012 pennies that values leap into the thousands, sometimes even reaching the unbelievable high of $102,000. Now you might be wondering, how can a penny minted in such recent years hold that kind of value? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and error types. Every once in a while, the minting process produces coins with dramatic flaws. These mistakes, while unintentional, create unique coins that collectors prize above all else. For example, a 2012 penny struck off-center, where the design is shifted so dramatically that part of the blank planchet remains visible, can easily fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on how extreme the error is. Then there are double-die obverse varieties, where the inscriptions or Lincoln's profile appear doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. Such varieties are rare and can drive collectors into bidding wars when examples surface. Another category of valuable errors includes coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a penny struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin blank. Suddenly, you have something incredibly rare that simply shouldn't exist. A 2012 penny with such an anomaly could be one of the few examples in the world, and collectors are willing to pay jaw-dropping sums for that level of exclusivity. That's where you see auction prices climbing into the tens of thousands, and in extreme cases, valuations soaring to that upper mark of $102,000. Even without errors, condition plays a massive role in determining value. The 2012 penny in circulation might be worth just a cent, but in mint state condition, especially at higher grades like MS68 or MS69, these coins can sell for much more. Proof examples: particularly the 2012 S-proof pennies minted in San Francisco, are another highly sought-after category. These coins were made with specially polished dies and blanks, resulting in mirror-like finishes that collectors adore. When kept in flawless condition and graded by professional services, proof pennies can reach incredible values, especially when combined with error features. What's so captivating about the 2012 penny is how easily it blends into everyday life. You could hold one in your hand right now without realizing its true worth. Most people toss pennies aside, never bothering to inspect them closely. But what if that unassuming coin in your pocket actually had a minting flaw? What if it was struck on the wrong planchet? Or what if the doubling on the date made it one of the rarest varieties known? That's where the real magic lies. The chance that a coin worth thousands could be hiding in plain sight. And when you consider that certain examples have sold for anywhere from $3,500 to $102,000, it becomes clear that these coins are worth a second look. The thrill of discovery keeps collectors and treasure hunters fascinated by modern pennies like the 2012. Stories circulate of people finding rare error coins in pocket change, coin rolls, or inherited jars of spare change. A single find could transform something as ordinary as a penny into a life-changing treasure. The excitement of possibility is what makes coin collecting so engaging. You never really know what might be out there waiting to be discovered. Beyond monetary value, the 2012 penny is a piece of America's ongoing story. The shield design represents strength and unity, themes deeply rooted in the nation's foundation. It reminds collectors and everyday Americans alike that even the smallest coin carries with it a connection to history. When you pair that symbolism with the real potential for financial gain, the 2012 penny becomes something far more important than just loose change. It becomes both a keepsake and a possible jackpot. Collectors often advise anyone interested in hunting for rare coins to pay attention to details. Look for any doubling in the lettering or date, check for off-center strikes, and feel for unusual thickness or weight that might suggest a wrong planchet. Always keep an eye out for proof-like finishes or sharpness of detail that might indicate a higher-grade coin. And above all, consider having unusual finds professionally graded to unlock their true market potential. The market for rare 2012 pennies is fueled by intense competition. Auction houses have seen these coins ignite bidding wars, with passionate collectors driving prices far beyond expectations. That's how a coin with a face value of just 1 cent can reach values equal to luxury cars, college tuition, or even down payments on houses. The psychological thrill of owning something both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time only adds fuel to the fire. Now, take a moment to imagine this. You're emptying your pockets at the end of the day, and among the crumpled bills and handful of change, you see a 2012 penny. You almost ignore it, but something makes you look again. Maybe the design looks slightly off, maybe the strike is unusual, or maybe the surface seems far more pristine than others you've seen. And in that instant, you realize you could be holding a coin not worth a penny but thousands, or in the most extraordinary cases, over $100,000. That's the thrill, the chance, the magic hidden in something most people overlook without a second thought. The 2012 penny teaches us a lesson beyond numismatics. Never underestimate the small things. Value often hides where we least expect it. And with coins like this, the potential for discovery is very real. With values ranging between $3,500 and $102,000 for the rarest and most pristine examples, the hunt for 2012 pennies has become a modern-day treasure search, so the next time you hear the faint clink of a penny dropping into your pocket, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Examine the details, because that small coin could be more than just pocket change. It could be a hidden gem waiting for the right eyes to see it. And maybe, just maybe, it could be worth enough to change your life forever.